So let's talk about the outrage surrounding Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl. When it was announced that he would be involved in the Super Bowl, certain corners of society immediately lost their minds. Some of the complaints included, why isn't an American artist performing? Why isn't he singing in English? This is America, we want an American artist speaking the American language. And of course, organizations like Turning Point USA jumped in to amplify the outrage. Let's unpack all of this. First of all, Bad Bunny is in fact American. He was born in Puerto Rico, which is a US territory. Puerto Ricans are US citizens by birth. That is not a political opinion, that is just an objective fact. So when critics demand an American artist, what they're really saying, whether they realize it or not, is that their definition of American doesn't include over 3 million US citizens who live on the island, plus millions more who are on the mainland. This is a huge ideological problem. The idea that American only means English speaking and mainland born is not just historically inaccurate, it's also culturally narrow. The United States has never been linguistically or culturally monolithic. From the very beginning, this country has been multilingual. Indigenous languages, Spanish in the Southwest, long before it was a US territory, French in Louisiana, German in Pennsylvania, and so on. That's what makes America so beautiful. It has been a melting pot since its birth. Now let's talk about the Spanish criticism. Over 40 million people in the US speak Spanish at home. That makes the US one of the largest Spanish-speaking countries in the world. Larger than Spain, crazily enough, larger than most of Latin America outside of Mexico. Spanish is not some foreign intrusion. It's woven into the fabric of American life. So, when people complain, "This is America, speak English," what they're really expressing isn't a concern about communication. It's a discomfort with cultural visibility, and a discomfort that they can't understand what Spanish speakers are saying. They're fine with diversity, as long as it stays quiet. This is where the hypocrisy kicks in. The Super Bowl halftime show has featured artists from all kinds of backgrounds. British rock bands, Canadian singers, performers who incorporate Afro-Caribbean influences, Latin rhythms, hip-hop, R&B. Nobody panicked when a British artist performed. Nobody demanded they go back to England. But suddenly Spanish lyrics are treated like a political threat? That's not about language. That's about whose culture is seen as default in America and whose is seen as alien culture. Finally, let's address the political angle. When groups like Turning Point USA frame this as a decline in American culture, they're playing into a long-running narrative that demographic and cultural change equals loss. But culture isn't a pie. Someone else getting representation doesn't mean yours disappears. It means the stage is big enough to reflect all realities. And the reality is that Puerto Rican culture is American culture. Spanish is an American language. Bad Bunny didn't sneak into the Super Bowl. He represents millions of fans, millions of citizens, and a massive part of the music industry. He is one of the most streamed artists in the world. His inclusion isn't political correctness, it's just cultural relevance. And here's something else. Sports themselves are global. The NFL actively markets the Super Bowl internationally. They play games in London, Mexico City, and Germany. They want to expand to global audiences. But when that global audience shows up in the halftime show in the form of Spanish lyrics, suddenly it's too much? You can't celebrate global markets and then panic over global culture. At the end of the day, this controversy says more about the critics than it does about Bad Bunny. It reveals how fragile someone's definition of American really is. If hearing Spanish for a few minutes during a performance feels like an existential threat, maybe the issue isn't the language. Maybe it's the insecurity behind it all. The Super Bowl is supposed to be a reflection of the country at that moment in time. And right now, this country is diverse, bilingual, multicultural, and evolving. Bad Bunny doesn't make America less American. He shows what America is all about. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe to the Wisco Project. And let me know what you think in the comments. Should the halftime show reflect the diversity of the country? Or should it stick to a narrow idea of tradition? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.